And we are back. Thanks for tuning in to the Still Knicks Fans podcast. This is episode number 25. It's great to be back. I'm your man, Ron. This is my brother, John, right here. What's going on, bro?
Oh, not much, man. We back in the building. Week off, but we're back. How's your vacation, by the way?
It was great, man. It was peaceful, relaxing, but I didn't win any money or anything fun. But at least I didn't lose any money either. So that's cool.
It's always good not to lose some money. You know what I mean? Well, you was out for the viewers. You was out in Atlantic City, right? And he was hanging out. Doing
I was out in Atlantic City. Yeah. It was cool because I got a chance to be out there all week, and I did the family thing, but also I was able to be out there for the Nothing But Knicks draft party podcast, which was really cool. I got to meet the Queen. She was there for the Queen's Court. I got to meet Julito McCullum, the entertainer, who is my favorite person to go to for New York Giants stuff. And obviously I got to meet Simeon, and Tony Crow was out there, so it was pretty cool, man. I enjoyed it. Oh, and Legion of Knicks was out there. I got to meet, him, and it just, I don't know. It was a real fun experience.
Right? That's his name? Guillermo?
Guillermo. I don't know his last name, but yeah, Guillermo.
Yeah, Guillermo.
So it was really cool.
I said Guillermo. Guillermo.
Yeah. No, it was really cool. Yeah, I had a good time, and it was real fun to be there with a bunch of Knicks fans going crazy at the draft, stressing ourselves out because we didn't know what they were doing. So that was pretty cool.
I was at home tuning in as well. I caught some of the podcast as well, and I was listening in and watching the draft at the same time. And I myself was like, what are they doing? I'm not really sure what's going on here. But, I started going into my trigger bag, like looking around and searching and seeing what's going on. Listen, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, I also met Big Bubba. I don't want to forget it. I forget his real name, but, Sims always called him Big Bubba. So now it's stuck in my head. Yeah, I met him. He's a really cool guy, too. So, yeah, it was pretty fun. I'm excited about what happened in the draft. I know I was going a little crazy at first because I know what they were doing, but all in all, I think they did pretty well. And then today, we've got the NBA free agency is opened up at 6 p.m. There's a lot of stuff happening. There's some crazy things happening already. We got some signings.
On fire
it's just
now.
a lot to talk about. I don't know what's happening, but
yeah. Well, listen, let's get this show on the road, man.
Yeah, definitely. So I just wanted to start off by saying, we have this whole idea of what we thought the Knicks was going to be going into the draft. And I guess part of that is a lot of fans. Someone said it when I was at that draft party. I think we're all upset because we all was doing so much research to find out who these guys were going to draft. And when they took none of the people we were researching, we were like, hey. So it got a little upsetting, and plus we didn't know exactly what they were doing. But all in all, I think they did a really good job. The guys they came out of the draft with are young talents, and they all can ball. They might have a couple limitations here and there, but I think when we break them down a little bit, we'll see that they're really good pieces and good acquisitions for the team.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to agree. I definitely agree with
okay,
that.
Good. Before we get into all of them and all of the free agent stuff, we should probably mention that we have a special guest with us today.
Oh, do we?
We do have a special guest with us today. Her name is Tia. She is a big Knicks fan. I found her, on Twitter, and I'm happy that we were able to get her on. You don't know how many times I was trying to get her on to talk about the Knicks, but we had some scheduling issues, but we finally here. And thank you, Tia, for being here. Welcome. We're happy to have you.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Tia's a big Knicks fan, man. I see her going back and forth on Twitter, and I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. We got to get her on here, see what she thinks about what's going on with this team.
Yeah, this is our platform,
Absolutely.
and this is kind of sort of what we want to do with this platform is invite true and true Knicks fans to come on and just talk Knicks with us, and and give us their insight on how they see the growth of our team. So welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. So how long have you been a Knicks fan?
Sorry, I just got an alert.
Oh, I got that alert too. Yeah,
you're on fire with the
alerts. Yes, sir. I like that alert. Yes, sir. That's a good one.
You know what?
No.
Would you mind
That's okay.
sharing?
We feel the same way.
Let's share before
share?
you talk about how many Knicks fans.
No, Tia, you break the news. Go ahead, you say
That's it. Tia's gonna break the news.
Okay, Derrick Rose agrees to return to the Knicks. 3 years, $43 million deal.
Let's go.
Yes.
Lock them down, baby.
That's
D Rose is back.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. That's good news. That is good news.
We can breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, that was good.
Yeah, right. I was a little worried. I didn't know what they were gonna do.
Me too. That's why I was like, look down. I said, Derrick Rose, what? Okay, I'm good. Yes. All right, sorry.
No, it's okay. We'll get into all of it. But so, how long have you been a Knicks fan?
Oh man, it was like law in my household. I grew up, my father, big Knicks, so it's kind of like that's what you are. I was born into it, So, yeah. So my brother, I have 3 brothers. They drifted off to others, but I stayed loyal to the Knicks. But yeah, I've been a Knicks fan forever, like little girl. And I'll just throw this in there. My cousin did coach the Knicks, Lenny Wilkins. So yeah, he's my cousin. So I'll throw that in there. Yeah.
Wow. Nice. So the lineage.
Yeah. So it's family, definitely.
That's great.
Family.
Wow.
I'm a bit confused. How did your brother? How were your brothers able to like swing away? That's crazy.
I think, honestly, they like to argue with me.
Okay.
Because they're brothers. So I know one is Nets. My other brother, he's Spurs. And then my other, I think my youngest brother's still Knicks, but yeah.
Okay.
We won't talk about
that.
That's
I can respect your brother. That's okay. I can respect your brother. That's a Spurs fan. That's a good look.
Yeah, that's a different look. That's different. It's it's not
the
like
brother that's a Net fan. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't. I'm not going to give him no airtime.
No airtime.
We're gonna leave that to the side. But yeah, it is. Yeah, it's. I grew up that way, so.
No, that's fine.
Lifelong Knicks. I'm telling you that we out here. I mean, that's why New York. There's no comparison when they talk about whose town is it. It's never going to be Brooklyn's town, and we're from Brooklyn. Ron and I are from Brooklyn. Not really sure where you're from, Tia, but we grew up in Brooklyn, and we can never shift over. It's like it just doesn't make sense. It's like we grew up Knicks fans. They have our heart. You know what I mean? Like we rode with them from beginning. I don't know. We started I started like in 85. I want to say 84, 85 around that time, and Ron, you're only like a couple of years older than me, but I'm sure around the same time or so.
Yeah, I started exactly around the same time because I started actually it was 86. 86 for me was everything. At 85, 86, because I became a Met. It just so happens I became a Met fan the year that they won. Hey, I was a kid. I didn't know nothing. Hey, they just were good teams, so I rooted for them.
More power to you.
Hey, man, this is what it is.
Nice.
But yeah, no, that's great, and that's a nice little piece of history. That's lineage is nice. So the question is, being that you've been a Knicks fan for that amount of time, it's like roots. It's like ingrained. What do you think about the team? This year, how they did and everything.
Exciting, very, 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 very exciting because it's been a long time for us. It's like I always got laughed at if they're like, "Who's your favorite team?" And I'm like, Knicks. I was, ha, you like those, I'm sure you've heard it too.
Yeah.
So it was exciting. It just brought back the hope, and I'm just ready for next season. I can't wait. Like I'm ready to go already. I'm like, let's go. Let's get it started. I'm ready. I'm excited. Like,
yeah, it's
so
really a fun time.
It is, absolutely. This has been for a long time. Yeah, so I'm excited. I love it.
Yeah, I think we had like a little moment when Melo was on the team, when he just got on the team, and we had that first year of him coming in. Into that second year was a lot of hype. We were I think most Knicks fans were extremely excited for it. And then it kind of fizzled out because of injuries and stuff. Once the injuries started happening, it started to fizzle out. It started with Stoudemire being injured, and then a few others. And then we had the kind of like insanity moment, you know what I mean? And then
that was exciting.
How that played out, you know what I mean? And so, we never really got, I think right now we're seeing sort of a different era where there's some growth, like there's some real growing potential happening. And then you see like the front office making smart moves, you know what I mean? And not just chasing the old veteran, who's kind of aged out or, trying to almost pass his time and then joining the Knicks, although that Larry Johnson's team was amazing. That run was nice too. But just to see us, in the last 8 years, not really doing much of anything, and kind of being the bottom of the barrel and trying to, dinging our way out, you know what I'm saying? This is kind of, this gives the kind of a light at the end of the tunnel. Like we can see hope, and we're like, okay, there's a possibility that we come into next season. We know we're capable of making the playoffs. You know what I mean? And I think that's the biggest thing for us. Now that we signed D Rose, that's just, that's right there. That's what it is.
It's even better.
Man, I made my night.
Yeah,
I was sweating a little bit.
That's good news.
I read a few things. I was like, what? No, nope. I'm turning my phone off. I was like, I'm not looking at this because it was getting me upset. This whole time, I swear to you, I have been so quiet on Twitter. You know how it is on there. They just be saying stuff, and I'm like, who are you? What source? Who are you getting this from? Like, who's telling you these things? So yeah, I had to I was like,
I hear you.
It bugs me out how so many anonymous sources come out, right? It's like, what?
Oh yeah. Like who are you?
Who are you? Where you get this information from? Like we're gonna start the year out with Vildoza as a starting point guard. I was like, how? We don't even know if this kid can play in the NBA yet, and they're talking about he's gonna start. I was like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, it's just crazy. Too much going on. Well, I mean, once again, I just want to thank you for being here, and we're happy to have you. I also wanted to mention, because I was, looking over, the Twitter action there, and I see you're a writer, author of Sheep in Wolf's Clothes. So was that was your first book?
It was my first book. I've had this story for a very long time. I was a track coach, and I also teach special needs children. I moved to Jersey. I was in New York. I'm born and raised in New York, but I just moved out to New Jersey. So when I was in New York, I was a track coach and special needs teacher. So I didn't have time to write this book. So unfortunately, I got into a car accident, and I got hurt really bad. So so I was recovering, and I went to a birthday party, and I met somebody, and the story, and
I think we may be having some audio technical issues with Tia. Hopefully we get her back.
Well, that's definitely interesting. Tia, I think we just got you back.
I think we got you back. Okay.
Yeah,
there you
back.
Go. There you
you're
go.
back.
Okay.
So
here I am.
I think we cut off at you saying you went to this party. Let's take it from there.
Right.
Yeah, I went to a party, and someone turned out to be my mentor. She wrote a book, and I told her really quickly my idea. She was like, "That's a great story. You need to write." So she became my mentor, and I wasn't working, so I had all the time. So I wrote this book. It was rough because, I was recovering at the same time and going through different stuff. So this book meant a lot because I just never thought I would ever be doing something like that. So yeah, it's a big, I did pretty well for, just me writing a book. So a lot of people, I have my little fan base and they want part 2. So I'm in the process of writing the part 2 to the story.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real nice thing. I'm sorry that you had to go through that, but they say when you go through different tragedies or turmoil and stuff, there's some positive things that come out of it. And looks like this yearning or love for becoming a writer is something that came out of that, which is great.
Yep, that's how I look at it. It was a reason. Thank you. It was a reason for everything. So I feel like coaching took so much of my time, and I was constantly working, so there was no way I could write this book. So for some reason, you always find a positive and negative, and that was the positive because it was hard, going through the recovery. So it kind of distracted me also from dealing with the pain and just life in general, recovering from something like that. So it definitely helped me get through all that. So it does mean a lot to me.
Well, that's good. That's good. And this book, it's called Sheep in Wolf's Clothes. And you can find that. Can you get that like on Amazon or?
Amazon. It's in Barnes and Noble. I think it's on iTunes still. You can go to iTunes and, you can put it on your phone or your iPad. The Kindle, right, is a little thing.
Yeah.
Amazon or whatever. Yeah, you can get it on there. So, yeah, I mean, some Barnes and Noble actually carry my book, but you have to order it. But yeah, you can just go on Barnes and Noble, type my name in, and it'll come up. Tia Shaw.
Okay,
great. We'll definitely plug
Tia
that
Shaw
on our Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
And I'm gonna
guys.
put that. I'm gonna
Absolutely.
put that down below, so that people can look on the podcast and get that info.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's
I
right. We got to
appreciate it.
support our own.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Well, we are here.
I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous.
I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, so let's start off. I mean, I know free agency is on everybody's mind and everybody's talking about it. So, we'll get to it. But let's just jump into really quick to the draft picks, who we got, and how they look, what we think about them, and how they can help the Knicks. So, first off, we got Mr. The Knicks made a lot of different moves and trades. They traded their 19th pick. Then they traded the 21st pick for the 25th pick. Yeah. Excuse me. And with that 25th pick, they wound up drafting Mr. Quentin Grimes. And I am a big fan of Quentin Grimes. I think that this kid, I'm not saying I'm not sipping the Kool-Aid. I don't think he's going to be a superstar just because the Knicks got him. But I do think this kid is a really good player. He can shoot. And I think that's what the Knicks have been missing. They've been looking for. This guy is lights out. I like his game. And I like the fact that he keeps improving. John, were you able to take a look at him, his tape, and see what he's about?
Yeah, it's interesting when I'm watching him and I'm watching some of his highlights and some of his reel. He reminds me a lot of Richard Jefferson. That sort of game. And most Knicks fans aren't going to like this because there is some beef between Richard Jefferson and us a little bit. But I just think as far as game wise though, he has a very similar feel to his game. He's got the mid range. He has the ability to put it on the floor and drive to the basket. He probably doesn't have the same explosiveness, but maybe he can build into that. You know what I mean? Richard Jefferson with Jason. I think so. Yeah. Because Jason Kidd made Jefferson a lot stronger athlete. Running up and down the court with Vince Carter. You got to keep up. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Richard Jefferson is kind of the some folks say Danny Green because he's a D and he's kind of a 3-point specialist and a defensive specialist. I think this kid has a little bit more to his game. You can see right there, he's putting it on the floor and going through defenders. You know what I mean? Danny Green has some sparks of that, but not like Richard Jefferson. So that's what I think.
Right.
Tia, what are your thoughts around Grimes?
I mean, I haven't checked him out completely, but of course, when I was watching, I did try to do a quick look on him, and the little bit that I saw, I was like, okay, all right, I like it. And I think, is what we I think it's going to actually complete some things. But yeah, time will tell, actually. But from what I'm seeing, I like, and I know he has growth. So yeah, I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah,
I was happy with it.
It's a nice pick to get
I like
so far down. You know what I mean? Like so far down, to drop down and still get the kind of guy you want. That's an amazing move by Leon and his team. To find that kind of caliber of a player. It went to Kansas too, right? Like he played in Houston, but he also transferred.
He went to Kansas and then he transferred to Houston. Right. And Houston actually is when he opened up his game. He started to learn how to play better.
Right. But, I say that's because Kansas is a big school, right? Like, I mean, not to say that Houston isn't, but Kansas is a well-known school for, picking athletes out of high school. And so that means he was highly recruited, right? And that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, there's a kid there that's highly recruited, went to Kansas, comes out, you know what I mean? And he probably figured, hey, I get more playing time, if I'm with a different squad, so.
Right.
But yeah, I really dig this pick. Like I said earlier, it's like when it was all happening, I was like, I'm not really sure what's going on, right? Like, okay, where we going with this? Like, we're just giving away draft picks now, like, and I get it, like, the whole idea of saying, yeah, we got to make sure we keep some money and salary cap, and then maybe get a first round pick, because I think they got a first round pick. It's protected though, or something like that, but just to make moves for a potential trade in the future. I get it,
right.
But also you're like, this is supposed to be the deepest, draft. And now we're, I think we had a chance of getting Jalen Johnson, right? Was that?
No, Jalen went right before our pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
He got picked right before our pick.
But it was somewhere around that range, right? It was a Kai Johnson.
I mean, granted, if we didn't trade our picks, yes, we could have got a lot of guys that were on our radars. But but yeah, no, I like him.
I like it.
And the good thing about him too is that he's progressively hooping and playing well. He played well coming out of Houston. Then he went into the draft combine and he lit up the draft combine. So and I expect him to have a really good summer league too. It's just he seems to be definitely going in the right direction, and that's what the Knicks need. And I hope that the year turns out to be one of those special ones. And if it wasn't already obvious, being that Reggie Bullock signed as a free agent with Dallas, I believe he's the replacement for Reggie Bullock. Right. Plus, I mean, even though I liked Reggie Bullock, he's a good defender and he can hit the three. That was what Reggie Bullock was. If you ask Reggie Bullock to drive or make a layup in transition, he couldn't do it. So maybe this kid can add a little more than what Reggie was giving us. So we'll see.
I agree. Yeah.
So
I'm good with
I like that he has good size for that position, right? You're talking about small forward. Yeah. He's what, 6'7", 6'8"? Oh, he's 6'5"?
He's 6'5", but he's got a 6'8", 6'9" wingspan. So that's good. Does. Yeah.
Because you marry him with RJ Barrett, you know what I mean? Like RJ's what, 6'6", you know what I mean? That's a nice combo right there, where you got some size, you got some athleticism, which is the biggest key.
And he's got some sneaky athleticism. People when you compare him to guys like Keon Johnson and these other high flyers that came out the draft, he doesn't compare in that realm. But his actual athleticism is pretty good. I seen him dunk over a couple people. And then, he's got a video circulating where he dunks on somebody. That's a fake video. It's set up. But the point is he's showing that he can get up. It's just to show people I can do more than what you think. Yeah.
I like that in the interview he talked about like who he likes, who he models his game after, who he looks at for kind of guidance in his game, like what videos he does. And he named Murray as one of those guys, you know what I mean? Murray from the Nuggets. And that's a great person to model your game after, you know what I mean?
Well, cool. That was definitely a good pick. And that's we drafted him with our 25th pick. And then it came to our 32nd pick, and here we go again. These Knicks moving. And so they wound up trading the 32nd pick for the 34th and 36th picks, which I thought, I mean, as a fan, I'm starting to go crazy. I'm like, there's guys on the board. I don't know what to do. And look at these guys. What are you guys doing? And then,
2 for 1.
oddly enough, right? And then, oddly enough, with the 34th pick in the draft, they draft Mr. Oh boy, Rokas Jubat. Hold on, I got it. Rokas Jubatis, Jukabatis. That's it, Jukabatis. Yeah, or Jukabatis. As close as I can get. It's either Jukabatis or Jukabatis.
Stick to first
and
name.
he's
Rokas.
He's
Lithuania.
Overseas. Yeah, he's overseas in Lithuania. And the thing about him is, I've been a Knicks fan long enough. I don't know if we're ever going to see this guy, but if he ever comes over, he looks like he can play a little bit. Like I remember when I was younger, I used to be like, oh man, the Knicks drafted this guy from wherever it was in Europe, and he looks like he's going to be a monster. When they get him over, and we never saw him again. So I'm just used to them not bringing guys over. We'll see what happens. But it looks like as far as
Porzingis, right? Porzingis.
True. Porzingis was a little special.
But that's what I'm saying. We also had what was his name? Is it Kumingas?
I know who you're talking about. Yeah. I can't think of his name now.
Sparingly. Was it Kumingas?
It was Kumingas. Yeah, because I'm thinking Kuminga, but it was Kumingas. Yeah,
it was Kumingas. Yeah. I think it was from Germany or something like that. But he came.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he had the curly hair. He looked like Julius Caesar.
He was on the team. You know, he was the beginning team when they first got Dotson. It was a real young squad. Young squad.
Yeah. That was really the beginning of like second year of Porzingis. I think it was the year after we got Porzingis. I think he came in with like Frank and those guys.
Yeah, he was on the team where we still had. You remember him now?
The light bulb went off. Sorry.
He had the curly hair. Yeah, he had a little spark. He had a little game, but they didn't really run him much. You know, they didn't really play him much. But
I'm like, who's
but yeah, this kid looks good though, Ron. I mean, I he's got kind of that in between game. He's got a little what they call it. I mean, they say he's similar to Dragic, right? But I would say
I heard that
he's got more of a herky jerky game to me than Dragic does. But I don't know. I mean,
he's similar to. He's similar more to the guy. Remember that guy that the Knicks had who was like a baby Dragic? Was it Bino Udrih or something? What was his name? Mm-hmm. Udrih. Yeah, he's like that. To me, he looks like that. Yeah.
Udrih played for Sacramento at one time, I think.
Right. And then the Knicks wound up getting him for a little bit. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's got a little game. He's got a handle. He can shoot. I don't know how he plays defense, but
the one thing I did notice that he has height. He's one of the taller point guard type, you know. So if they're looking for a guy who kind of fits the mold of like a what's the guy everybody raves about in Dallas? What's the kid's name? I should know his name. Everyone talks about him. Their star. Yeah. What's his name?
Luka Doncic.
Oh yeah, I was about to say Luka.
Yeah. Luka. Yeah. I think if everybody, when they look at this European point guards, they always look at Luka as now the kind of perennial point guard overseas. You know, the good thing is that he has experience overseas playing with NBA talent, right? I think Valanciunas comes from Lithuania as well. There's a few players on that.
Yeah, I believe he does. Comes from there.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I haven't checked him out from like listening.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that, I mean, we can do a little research and to see what he's about. But like I said, until I know for sure he's going to be on the Knicks roster in the States, I'm not gonna waste my time too much on him. But hey, he looks like a good player.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to say though, like even during our draft, now no one's talking about Vildoza because that ends. Even though we picked him up last year, that becomes an additional draft pick. That's like a first round draft pick because he was high on a lot of folks' boards this year. You know, he would have been if he
Yeah.
didn't already commit to the Knicks.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Vildoza. I'm a little concerned because I feel like people, fans are starting to get a little sour on him because they would expect him to do a little bit more in his Olympic run. But, you know, listen, time and place for everything, right? You know, he obviously knows that he's coming to the Knicks and the spotlight is on him. And, you know, there's a little pressure. I don't know if he's ever been involved in that type of pressure. I know he's played over there for a while, and he's kind of like a B star over there. He's a good ball player, and he's made a name for himself overseas. But we just got to see how that translates to the States. I think he can do some stuff, and I like the way he got busy with his handle, and he stepped back and hit a three in one of the Americans' face. I forgot who it was, but he could play. He could play. So we'll see what happens with Luka Vildoza. But I when I saw this pick, I'm not gonna lie to you, I started freaking out. I was like, who's Rokas? I don't know. I know Al Roker. I don't know who Rokas is. I was a little concerned. And then when they picked him, I said, okay, I don't know what they're doing. And automatically I said, okay, so they just wasted a pick because this guy's never coming here. And then when we got to 36, I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for the Knicks traded the 36th pick for the 60th pick in the draft. I was waiting for something crazy, right? But no, they wound up drafting with the 36th pick Miles Deuce McBride. And let me tell you how happy I was when they drafted McBride. I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you kidding me? You got him at 36? I was going crazy because he was definitely on my board. Actually, Quentin and him were on my board. But when they got McBride, oh, man. Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't know much about Grimes. McBride, I was watching McBride. I didn't know anything about Grimes. Not until after they picked him. Then I started researching him. Again, still lost on Rokas a bit, but this one right here, McBride, they got themselves a nice player, you know.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, what are your thoughts around his game, Tia?
I mean, between Grimes and McBride, I was like, all right, this is something. We're gonna do something. So yeah, I like he seems aggressive, you know what I'm saying? He seems like that's what we do need it. So it's gonna be, like I said, I can't wait. Them two, that I was very excited with those two. Very, very excited. Finally.
Yeah, I agree with that. With that assessment of him being aggressive, like he looks like he's one of those bulldog type players. Comes in, he's on the attack all the time. You know, in college he was kind of you know, he would defend the opposite team best player, right? He even showed it in the NCAA, right? Like when he went up against the kid Cade Cunningham, right? Was it Cade? It was Cade.
Cade Cunningham.
Yep. Yeah, Cade. Yeah. It was Cade Cunningham. Yeah.
And he was right in front of him throughout. You know, I mean, Cade is Cade, right? He's going to do his thing, but he was right in front of him, and I think he kept him under his average, but also made the other team worry about him offensively too. Like he wasn't just playing defense; he was on attack on the offensive end and the defensive end, and he gets to the basket. You know, I love that. You know, Marcus Smart was my original thought.
That's exactly he reminds me of a Marcus Smart. I think he can be better than Marcus because he might be a better shooter eventually. Like he's a good shooter now, but he obviously needs to work on it to become that NBA type shooter that, you know, it's automatic. But he gives me that Marcus Smart vibe. Yeah. That's a good comparison. I think
either like that or D Wade, a little bit of D Wade, but I think D Wade was a little bit more explosive, you know, like as far as a leaper, you know.
Yeah,
absolutely. But his aggressiveness is he's definitely got that. You hit that, you nailed that, Tia. He is aggressive on both ends, offense and defense, really. But defensively, this guy, he goes and gets it, man. The way he played Cade, you know, he stole the ball. He stripped Cade 4 times in that game, and then he dunked on him. Oh, man. I was like, this is great.
Man,
he was bringing it. That was it right
there. Look at that. That's what we need.
But that's the kind of
like
players
this kid a lot.
That's to get him so low.
That's
it's
what we
almost
need
like
in
a
New York.
steal. That's almost a steal. That's like that. I think the Knicks got a couple of steals, and we're going to talk about it. I'm sure we're going to get to another couple of the later draft picks, but like this was a big one. This may be a potential six. I think if he's coming off the bench, he may be 6th player of the year type. I think he's got that kind of charisma too. He's good. Like he's not. He doesn't shy away from the cameras either, which is good. Some young players don't really want to be in front of the camera. I think he's a different breed. So. And now that we have Rose locked up for the next couple of years, that's like, can you imagine that sort of tutelage that's going to happen? Like, you're going to learn from the youngest MVP to ever do it. Like, can't beat that. Can't beat it.
That is great. That is great.
Exciting.
Yeah, no, this is good. This is good. I couldn't control myself. I was just so excited. And even when the draft party was happening and we got him, and I still see guys like, oh man, but we could have are you guys bugging? We got Miles Deuce McBride, man. I'm like, what's wrong with y'all?
Yep.
It was crazy.
Not to be mad about
it was
that.
crazy. No, not at all.
He played football,
I like
so you already know he's built for the he's built for the action. Like he's not shying away from none of it. He wants the contact.
No, he wants the smoke.
He's gonna put in the work.
So
I'm saying he's gonna put in the work in the offseason because players that come that play football, they don't shy away from the workouts. You know what I mean? Where some guys who just play basketball or just transition into basketball, they shy away from the workouts. Let's be real. Like they're gonna huff and puff about going to the gym, and they don't want to work on the legs.
Practice.
So practice now. But
Practice.
this kid is gonna come ready. You know what I mean? So,
and he already knows he has this whole thing that I know that Thibodeau and the Knicks like me because of my defense. That's not a question. He's like, that's there. He's like, but what is good about me too is that my offensive game is as good as anybody else in the draft. And that's how he feels. And I like that. And he also said that all those teams that passed up on him are going to regret it. I like that. I like the mentality he has for himself.
Uh-huh. I saw that. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
hey, man.
That summer league is going to look something special. I'm telling you, we got some players, and we bring in quickly into that summer league because he missed out on the summer league before. We're gonna have some. It's gonna be fun to see these guys go in. And we got some athleticism. Talk about athleticism. Is that who we talking about next?
Oh, that is exactly who we talking about next. So the Knicks decided, and this one kind of hit me. I'll be honest. Before they drafted him, I wasn't looking at him. I seen the kid before, but I didn't look at his videos. So because I figured he was going to be a late 2nd round pick. And Tia, you may not know, but my late 2nd round pick was going to be Luka Garza. I really wanted Luka because he's a big guy, center, 6'10", and he can shoot the 3 as good as a guard. So I was like, that would be a good pick for the Knicks, somebody who can stretch the floor. He was slow and kind of a big burly guy, but still, I thought that might have been a good pick so late. But he wound up getting drafted at 52, and the Knicks had the 58th pick. So with the 58th pick, they drafted Jericho Sims. And Jericho Sims out of Texas is a high flyer.
Jumps out the gym.
You talk about ups.
Jumps out the gym.
This guy got the definition of bunnies.
Yeah.
I mean, like he's
during a practice session
or
something, didn't he like hit his head on the rim or some craziness like that?
Yeah.
He banged the bridge of his nose.
Oh, was it the nose?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he banged his nose on the freaking rim, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I saw that. No, I do like him too. I like I said, this is the best ever. Or in a long time.
Right.
In a long time.
Yeah,
so,
I think
it's been a while.
His game is obviously, you can see it's the new NBA these days. It's like a Clint Capella. It's like a Mitchell Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
It's these guys who get the ball down low and put it up and dunk, or they go for lobs. But the difference with him, and which is what I like. Actually, I'll give credit to where credit is due. Cornelius Thomas, the prophet, was on our show 2 weeks ago. When I was talking to him, he said that one of the biggest things he liked about Jericho Sims is his feet, because the way he moves his feet are really good. Like, he can be in great position to be on defense or offense. How fast he moves, he feels like even better than Mitchell Robinson. But I look at him and his body type. This guy's a really big guy, and he's just going to get bigger. He kind of reminds me of Dwight Howard. That's the comp I see for him.
Right.
Yeah, he's 6'10".
I think you're right. Yeah, 6'10". 6'10". He's a big kid. Young, athletic. He's going to be able to run up and down the court with D Rose. You know what I'm saying? So I could see a lot of action there with him and Toppin. You know what I mean? That's going to be nice to see, because we were light last year, like light. Talking about Noel I'm glad we re-signed him, because I think he's going to be a spark off the bench.
Yeah,
but
I'm glad about
we don't
that.
have to we don't have to rely on him to come in and play center. Like, we could give some of Taj Gibson's minutes to him, and that way he can play the power forward spot. Although that's someone I'm interested in bringing back in a 1 year what they call it, veteran salary. You know what I mean? Because I think Taj is one of those guys you need part of coaching. You know what I mean? And just living in New York, he can give everybody the heads up. Being that mentor. But like this guy it's like night and day. If you have Mitch on the team, which we're gonna have, and he needs some time, or if he gets banged up or injured, I can see this kid playing heavy minutes and just being that spark off the bench. So this is gonna be interesting.
Absolutely.
He can rebound. He blocks shots. That's what you need.
I think he does. Obviously, the knock on him is he's not a good shooter. I mean, guys like this, that's just what it is. I don't know if it's because they're big and they got big muscles, that they don't have the touch, whatever it is. He's not a great shooter. If he goes to the foul line, he could be a liability. But hey, the point is to get to the foul line and get other teams in foul trouble. And more than not, a lot of those are going to be easy dunks for him. So it's still a plus. And on the defensive end, I think that he does need to work on becoming a little bit more aggressive and getting his timing to be able to block more shots, because he only averaged a little over one block a game. And a guy like this, who has like between a 44 and 46 inch vertical leap, and he's 6'10", you would think he would have way more blocks, But I think being with Thibodeau is going to figure out a way to use him properly and plus the Knicks got Nerlens Noel back, and you got Mitch.
From the best.
He's going to learn how to block some shots. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, you're up against those guys who that's their job, right? Like, especially Noel, that's what he specializes in, blocking shots and getting out there and interrupting. A kid like this can learn from a guy like Nerlens Noel. And again, like, imagine him and Nerlens down low off the bench. You know what I mean? Like, that's action right there. Like, you know what I mean? The speed. Although Noel can't catch the ball, but regardless, he runs the paint well.
He still got the baby hands.
Block shots. It's weird. It's so weird. I don't understand it.
But yeah, so I mean, that's Jericho Sims, and hopefully, he becomes a little bit of a monster for us on both ends of the court. We'll see what happens. And that was the end of our draft. That was our 4 draft picks that we actually drafted. However, when the draft was over, we did pick up one guy who was undrafted. And this guy is actually another Sims. This guy is actually pretty interesting.
I was like, are they related? Let me see.
Yeah. No, we picked up Mr. Amir Sims. And the interesting thing about Amir, and he's from Clemson, by the way, is that he's a 6'8" power forward, and his game is really, it's tricky to kind of look at, because he can shoot the three, he can dunk on you, he can play good defense, and he passes the ball. It's very,
he's probably one of the outside of the kid from Turkey, the kid that came in from Turkey who was a high draft pick.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Outside of him, I think we got the best passer in this draft. I mean, even though we didn't draft him.
For a big guy, yeah. For a big
guy, for 6'9", I think we got the best passer that coming out of college. Like, seriously. It's like, it doesn't make sense. I mean, it's crazy.
I don't know. Like, I got to tell you, sometimes it's like night and day. Sometimes I can't believe that the Knicks front office are these guys. Like, I'm so used to the Knicks picking these weird guys, and I don't know what they're going to be. But it seems like the past couple of years, these guys have been getting these players. And I'm like, where did you find these guys? And how come I didn't see it before? It's crazy.
Yep.
Were you able to take a look at him at all, Tia?
Not really. I heard things, but I haven't technically like watched any of his film or anything. But I heard good things about him, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that's the whole point here. It's just one of these guys that obviously people know who he is. He has been scouted, but he's kind of under the radar, and I'm just surprised. This to me is a surprising. Well, I guess that shows. We're going to find out later how deep this draft really is, because if this is the type of guy that goes undrafted, like, what does that say?
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
And I think all of it's good.
This is to come away with what we got 4 players after the draft, right? Like, who would have thought? Like, especially when we were giving them away, it was like, just like, okay, you can have it. It was like, wait, we're gonna finish this draft with more than 3 players now, with 4 players, and then 5 with Vildoza, because I've always looked at Vildoza as a draft pick. You know what I mean? So like, you're coming away and you got a lot of young talent. You know what I mean? I'm hoping that all these kids are able to stick. That the question for me is, outside of Rokas, I would like to see all of these kids make the team. And I think they may be doing that, because I don't think they made a qualifying offer to Ntilikina. So my guess is that he's going to be gone. I think we still have Knox under wraps, right? I think we still got Knox for another year or so. So he may be coming back. And if I was Knox, I'll be like screaming, put me in summer league. You know what I mean? Like, let me play. Let me show you what I can do. You know what I mean? With this team, so if I was him and I was his agent, I would be like, yo, you got to go to summer league and show and prove, because he was buried in the bench last year. So
he was.
I would say,
well, he is there now. He's on the summer league roster now. Knox is on the summer league roster. Yeah, he got added.
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense, because he's like, with all these young studs, you got to win your spot now, right? Like, you got to show that you can hang. Yep. And I'm telling you, this kid right here is the surprise for me. I really think he's going to turn out to be a John Wallace with some passing. That's who I see in this game. John Wallace, who can score the buckets, but this kid can pass, like pass. Like, so it's gonna be interesting how they play him. I could see him at the small forward. He could double as a power forward, so we'll see.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're in agreement. Yeah. Oh, Tia, are you still cool with us, or do you have to go? Or can you hang for a little bit?
I have to, because I have to run out.
Not a problem.
I have to take my brother to work.
Not a
no
problem.
problemo. No problem. Listen,
this was a pleasure having you on board.
Yeah, we thank you for being with us. And I'm happy that you're working on your second book. I hope it does even better than the first book, and you get more exposure out there. And this leads to something. This could be a passion where you could quit your day job and you just be an author. And I can say, hey, I remember Tia Shaw Wynn.
Guess who I know?
Guess who I know? I know. I mean, I'll put this. There is some interest for some projects, so I'll put that out there. That's why the second book is on its way, because there's some interest. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So who knows?
Okay. Good things happen to Knicks fans. I'm trying to tell you.
That's right. That's right. Loyal Knicks fans that stay on, don't ever hop off the train.
We're gonna put it in the
That's
air.
right.
You know?
That's right.
So thank you guys. I had a lot of fun, and yeah, great time. Thank you for having me.
Anytime,
yeah, no problem.
Anytime
Listen,
you want to come back,
we can get you
out.
back on. Yeah, definitely.
I would love
where
to
can
come back.
people? Great. And where can people find you if they want to get in touch with you on Twitter or what have you?
Yeah, I'm not a social media person. Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I really don't. I have Snapchat, but I don't really use Snapchat. But my Twitter.
Well, I'm sure they're going to want to reach out to you after they read your book.
Oh yeah, of course. Questions or you just want to talk to me. My Twitter is TNShaw06.
Nice.
You can find me on there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, first. Yeah, reach out.
Thank you guys.
Thanks again. Thanks again for being on. And be safe out there. And we'll talk to you in the future.
Yes. Right. Thank you guys.
Take care. Nice.
All right. So yeah, it was nice to have Tia on to go over these Knicks draft picks, and hopefully that new book gets finished and she gets much success with that, and we get to get her back on. We can say acclaimed author Tia Shaw talk about these Knickerbockers and our first championship in X amount of years.
Right, she would be like our Spike. We're like, oh, I guess
yeah, correct. Yeah, exactly. Well, so now we're here, bro. Now we're here. We're talking free agency. This stuff went fast and furious. This was like Fast and Furious 20, man. I was like, what happened here, bro? Everything was going crazy.
Listen, before we start, I want to give a special shout out to one of my homies. Goes by the name of my homie Dub. He put me on to a couple of alerts that came through. He's like hit me up back and forth. He was like, "Yo, guess who's got signed? Who this?" And, he just kept hitting me up and letting me know. So I appreciate that. Shout outs to Dub. Nothing Over Music. That's his label. So just wanted to shout him out real quick. But yeah, he put me on. He was like, Evan Fournier. You know what I mean, to the Knicks. I was like, what? I don't know the years or anything, but I know he's with the Knicks. I hope it ain't like crazy, but can you fill me in on that? Because I heard that. I heard that was kind of the big one. The re-signings I kind of heard kind of almost at the same time. He hit me to that as well. The re-signing of Burks and Noel. That was good to see. You know what I mean? But what is this?
It looks like
Fournier
Evan Fournier.
Thing look like?
Fournier signed a 4-year deal for $78 million.
Woo! That's heavy.
A lot of money. It's a lot of monties. Oh man! Okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. Do I think the Knicks needed Fournier? Yeah, he's a good type of player. The type of player that we haven't had at the guard position. But it's a lot of munties. I don't know.
If you was in that seat, right, and you had an opportunity to choose from Fournier or Terrence Ross, who would you have gone with?
Honestly, I still would have went with Fournier, really? Even though I like Ross. Like, I'm a big fan of Terrence Ross on the defensive and offensive end and his explosiveness. I just think Ross gets hurt a little bit more for my liking. And that's my only thing I could base it on. Just his health, I think, he's a little less healthy than Fournier. Fournier gets hurt too, but Ross seems to get hurt a lot more. And I honestly, if I was the Knicks, but I know they probably felt like they had to do this because guys were getting scooped up quickly. I wouldn't have given him 4 years. I would have probably done 2 and a possible. But that would have been me.
Right.
But listen, they had to do what they had to do.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted their guy. They have to go after him, right? So if that was their guy and he was high on their board, or the opportunity to pick him up, he gives you some size, right? Because he is like 6'9". He's a big small forward. You know what I mean? He's not one of the fast, scrawny guys. But I personally though would have went if I was in that situation. I would have went and tried to pick up Terrence Ross, to be honest with you, because that athleticism and that speed you can't teach that. It's kind of who you
he's
are.
Actually he's 6'7". He's 6'7".
Yeah, he's still a big small forward. Good size for that position. But I personally, like I said, I would have went with Terrence Ross, who's probably a little smaller, but that athletic ability to get up and down the court. May have been cheaper too. Yeah, you could have saved some money, but I would have went with Terrence Ross. I like him as a player more than I do Fournier. But we got Fournier, so he let's see if he can stretch the floor. I think that was the biggest thing. He's he's kind of like he can stretch the floor. He can put it on the floor, and make create his own shot. Very similar to Ross, like I said, just different styles. And I just hope he gets a haircut. I just hope Fournier takes it off. Like, that's the shit that annoys me with Fournier. Like, let's get real. Yeah. Like, it's hard to look at a guy who's a good player, and then he starts talking shit, and he got the science hairdo. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Yeah. I mean, I got it too now, but I haven't gotten my cut. If I was playing ball, I would just take it off, bro. Take it off, man. What you doing? Looking like a science teacher. Come on.
And he was pretty pissed off at 2K because he felt like they did him dirty because of the way they made, but they made him look similar to how he looks. That's maybe you should change some things. I don't know.
Like, why are you putting gel on your hair when you ain't got no hair? That shit don't make no sense. I'm like, come on, man. Somebody tell this guy something. I hope somebody schooling him to his good.
Yeah. Hopefully they get with him. Get with him and get a little talk, man. It's gonna be all right, bro. Man. It's gonna be all right.
Yeah. Just take it off, man. You're killing me.
Yeah, but he definitely is a player that I look at and I say, he could really help the Knicks.
Solid player. Solid player. Yeah. It didn't really pan out for him in Boston, which is interesting.
Yeah, but I think, sometimes it's just about the being traded to a situation that was already pretty decent. Like, they already got guys at different positions. And he's coming in there to fill a hole, but it's not like he was the perfect fit. I don't know how that trade even went down, how it happened that he was going to wind up in Boston. Like, for the Knicks, he fits. Will it pan out that way? We don't know. But on paper, he fits. So we'll see how it works. Plus, he's got some stability because he knows he's got a 4-year deal. 4 years. So I guess that's got to make him happy. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Focus on basketball and getting the haircut. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna let it go. You got to take it off.
I see that.
He should start the season with a fucking, excuse my language, with a baldy. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to do it. Let's not go there. I don't want the jokes to be on us instead of Trae Young. Come on, son. Let's get it together. Who raised you? Let's get it together. Sorry.
All right. Yo. Oh, man, you funny. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. So that technically was the first domino, but it wasn't announced. The Knicks had been working on that behind the scenes. But at the 4 o'clock mark, we already kind of knew that they said that the Knicks were working on an Evan Fournier deal. But it didn't come to fruition yet. The first deal that I think actually happened was the re-signing of Nerlens Noel. So they brought back Nerlens, which I'm okay with. I don't mind having Nerlens. I'm a little confused as to where they're going to go from here because I still think that the Knicks needed to get a big who can stretch the floor. I love Nerlens' defense and how he helped us, but he can't shoot from the perimeter. And I still think that, the Knicks may still do that. But if you look at who we got on the roster right now, Jericho Sims, we've got Nerlens Noel back, and we got Mitchell Robinson. These are all 3 guys that can't shoot from the outside, from the perimeter. So I just think we still need to figure out a way to bring in a big that can shoot from unless the Knicks feel like they're going to be playing small and guys like Amir Sims and Fournier are and with Randall are going to be the ones that stretch the floor. I don't know.
I mean, I just think there are different ways to play basketball, and I think part of the issue that we see today is that every center is now stretching the floor. You know what I mean? That is not always a good thing, because if they're stretching the floor, they're not really rebounding, right? So,
Correct.
so there's different ways to look at it. Like you could either, and remember, Tibbs is all about defense, right? So if he feels like he's better off using his power forwards, small forwards to stretch the floor and shoot the three, and allow yourself the ability to have a big down low to go up against guys, who you feel like you're more formidable against in rebounding, then why not stack it to your favor? You know what I mean? Because the more you can
Right.
get tip backs, the more you get second opportunities, the better your offense becomes. You know what I mean? Because you have a second or third chance at scoring a bucket. And then on the opposite end, you gotta really look at what they do defensively, because it's super important to keep teams under their league average, right? If you continue to keep teams under their league average, then you have the opportunity to win games that you may not have thought you can win, right? You're in the game, so then at the end of the games, you have an opportunity to either come up big with a defensive stop, or maybe hit a big shot at the end. We didn't have many big shots at the end this year, but we did come up with a lot of defensive stops this year, which helped us,
Mhm.
along the way. So I'm gonna look at that as our front office and Tibbs looking at it and saying, "Hey, we're going to play basketball the way we want to play our style of basketball, and allow other teams to, just do this new era of basketball where everybody wants to have a Nikolai Jokic." You know what I mean? So we'll
Right.
see.
Right. Hey, man, listen. I hope it all works out. I hope it all works out. I think one thing I'm learning to stop doing is second guessing this team, because every time I think I don't know what they're doing, they wind up doing something that surprises me. So they have a
Yeah.
plan. Maybe they had plan A, plan B, plan C, and certain plans didn't work out the way they intended. So they said, "Hey, we're going to go to this plan," and they're just following the script. So we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I like that
Um,
we brought back Burks, man, and I like that we brought back Noel. You know what I mean? Those that's big, because you get defense and you got offense, right? Two pivotal players, this year, at least in our run, they made the difference. When Mitch was out, Norland's Noel held it down. As light as he is, I mean, I'm not a
right.
fan of how light he is. You know what I mean? But can't argue. He put up the defensive numbers. You know what I mean? And he hit some free throws down the stretch of games, which was interesting because
That he
he
did.
wasn't the best free
He
throw
did.
shooter. You know what I mean? So, gotta give credit what credit is due. There was parts of our run when we were talking about winners, like we were talking about stock rises and fallers, and there were a few
Right.
times that Noel hit that fallers. We was like, oh, he's a faller, he ain't coming out the bench, and all of a sudden, Rich gets hurt, and he's like, oh man, he's a riser. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. So yeah, I mean, listen, I'm happy that he's back. I just would hope that maybe there's some stretch big out there that they add, because I just think it gives them more versatility. Do they necessarily need to have it? No, but they just need to have better all around basketball players as a team than they had last year, because that's how you can improve, right? Um,
right.
but speaking of bringing back guys. So, after the Nerlens Noel signing was announced, then we found out that they were bringing back Alec Burks. And while that was happening kind of simultaneously, we found out that Dallas was, about to wind up signing Reggie Bullock. So, we thank Reggie Bullock for his service. You've been a good one,
Absolutely.
man. We appreciate you. Um,
Hmm.
but I guess it was time. But I do like the fact that and I think we talked about this before. If I had a choice between the two of them, I just like Burks' game a little better. So
Hmm.
I'm happy that they're bringing him back.
Right. Right. And also, this opens the opportunity to have a starter. there's going to be an opportunity for people for players on the team to play for minutes now. Like, who is going to win that number 2 or 3 spot, right? Because right now we know
Right.
Barrett has one, right? And we know Rose potentially has one, right? So who's
Mhm.
going to fit that missing piece? Will it be a Knox? Will we see a Knox sighting? Will Knox come off summer league and then like show that he belongs, or will it be Grimes? Right? Like, who knows? Like, it
Right.
could potentially be Quickly. You know what I mean? As a 2 guard. So there's so many variables here. There's so many opportunities for guys to play for minutes now. It's going to be interesting to see, unless we make another signing. Fournier, you expect him to play the small forward position. That's the one that's kind of missing in all of this, right? Fournier with a 4-year deal, you expect him to play, even if he doesn't start, he's going to play heavy minutes. But
Right.
I would assume that he's going to start alongside Randu and Barrett. You know what I mean? It's all about like who's coming off the bench and playing that next, 6-man type role. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Fournier
I
is
guess we'll
definitely
see.
going to be a starter because
It's
making
got
80
to.
million. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, that's really cool that they're able to bring Burks back. So there's still some continuity from last year's team. Some of the guys that helped us make that playoff run are coming back. And then the biggest one of all, which when the news broke, we were all very excited, is finding out that Derrick
Thanks to
Rose is
Tia,
coming
who
back.
gave us the,
Tia broke
we
the
I think
story.
I think both of you got the ping ping at the same time.
Yeah, no,
All I heard was ping ping
that's
ping
great
ping.
news.
I was like, okay,
So
yeah,
yeah, he's coming back 3 years at 43 million.
that's
That's
good.
pretty decent. Yeah.
That's a nice grab right there. That's a perfect spot for him. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind to see Rose start. I really wouldn't. Some folks feel like he's better off the bench, but I wouldn't mind having Rose start the games. You know what I mean? I mean, we got so much talent to build from right now. Knowing that we have Burks who can be our 6-man off the bench. You have Quickly, same kind of deal. He can play off the bench, and you got Toppin. So all the other guys are gonna fight for minutes. And depends on how they
Mhm.
do in the summer league. I mean, the hope is that Mitchell Robinson comes back healthy after this offseason, and he's gained weight, so and that's muscle, so which is great to see. Hopefully, he's working on his legs as well, so he comes back a lot stronger on the bottom half of his body, so he can deal with the kind of grind of an 82 game series. You know what I mean? Or 82 game season, I should say,
Right.
because
Right.
that ain't easy. This is going to be a first year back with a full season. So, we'll see how that looks.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we'll definitely see what happens because the Knicks are gonna need to figure out the best ways to maximize Rose because you don't want to run him into the ground, kind of like what started to happen down the stretch last year and into the playoffs. So
Mm-hmm.
and I don't mind if Rose starts either, um, especially if McBride becomes that person to run the second unit because I think he can definitely do it. And working under Rose might turn him into a special player. So maybe they won't have to go so crazy looking for that big point guard out there right now. They can still wait
Right.
another year and see how this because I know they're still focused on next year's draft. I mean next year's free agency period. They just want to kind of get through with make some improvements to the team and see what happens next year. So we'll see. All in
Listen, if
all,
the Knicks don't
all that
make
can
any more
happen.
moves, I'm good. Like, to be honest, I look at the team. I think we have a solidified, you know, front. Right now we have a nice, core of starters. We got a nice, pairing of bench players, some young,
Mhm.
hungry players that want to come in and prove themselves. I like the way we're at. Now, will we not continue to look to see if we can get a little better? I don't know. I think that I'll be surprised if we don't hear any more rumblings. You know what I mean? I think the Knicks may be another 1 or 2 deals away from something a little bit more major. So I can expect to see something like that maybe come through, and maybe, involving some of our picks, to be honest. So
Yeah, because
we'll
we
see
still
how
could
that
make a
looks.
trade. Yeah.
Yeah. We got
Yeah.
flexibility in the cap. So now we have to look at what these numbers look like with Fournier's, 78, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
78
depending on
mil.
where we at there, because Mitch wants to get looked at again after this year. He wants to, he's vying for a new deal, and Randall, so we'll see how that looks.
I
Money
mean,
makes sense,
32 million for Nerlens, 30 million for Burks, 43 million for Rose, and 78 for Fournier. That's some money spent, but they still got some money to play with, to play around with. It looks like,
Mm-hmm.
not much, but they got a little something, and it all depends on how they structured the contracts. Because being that they were re-signing Rose, Burks, and Noel, they could have played around and maybe gave them a little less money this
On
coming
the front
year,
end,
and
or back end.
yeah, right. So we'll see.
Yeah, and like I said, they just have to make sure that as the year progresses, and how we see this year play out, you know, Randall being who he or what he has accomplished with this team, if he continues in that upward trajectory, God willing, he will. We could see him in our future for a long time. You know what I mean? And same goes for Mitch. I think we can't lose sight of that he's extremely young at this point. What is he? Is he 20, 21? He's young. He's a young,
Yeah, he's still young.
20. So, I could see his growth as well with the team. So we'll see. All these guys are going to need some kind of assurance that they're going to be able to be looked at and given an opportunity to stick with the team. Not to mention Barrett's on a rookie minimum, top end, so on and so forth. So.
Oh wow, man! The Bulls is making moves, man.
Yeah, they got
They
who the Bulls picked up? Lowry?
they got
No,
Lonzo.
that
They got
Miami.
Lonzo.
Miami. Yeah, Lonzo went to the
Miami got
Bulls. Yeah.
Lonzo
Lowry.
went to the Bulls, and it looks like apparently the Bulls are looking to do a sign and trade for DeMar DeRozan.
Okay.
I don't quite
Doesn't scare me
understand
though.
but the Lakers just signed DeRozan, so or at least
They did?
maybe it didn't happen. I don't know.
No, I don't think they did. I think there was just conversations around there. I don't think they signed him.
Huh.
I don't think
Well,
they signed him
interesting.
yet. But they were talking.
I don't know how you. I don't know what you do with that, Levine and DeRozan.
I was just about to say, because Levine is the piece right there. DeRozan, they play the same position. There's no way Levine's gonna take a back seat to DeRozan when he's younger. You know what I mean? So that means that Levine is moving. If they just signed DeRozan, look for Levine to be the next guy moving. And I wouldn't mind him in a Knicks uniform, but that's it looks less of that possibility now, the way seeing that we signed Fournier. So
one of my friends put up a post. Super jerk. He's a Bulls fan. Vader,
okay.
I see it. I'm not happy about it. I see it. He said breaking.
That
New
doesn't
York Knicks
scare
and
me
Chris
though.
Paul. No. But he said breaking. New York Knicks and Chris Paul have reached an agreement. They both agreed it will never happen.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't even want Chris Paul. I really didn't. So I don't know. I don't know if you did, but I wasn't. I'm not.
No.
I'm not thinking.
The money and the age would bother me a lot.
I like Rose.
I don't know.
I like Rose over Paul. I mean, Paul might be a better floor general. You know what I mean? But I like what Rose brings. He brings a little bit a different style and swag than a Chris Paul. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I like us re-signing Rose. I didn't think we would. I mean, at first I was like wondering if we would or we wouldn't, if we would go young. I was hoping that we did, and I'm glad we did.
Well, I know there's going to be a lot of fans that are a little confused and not understanding what's going on because we're bringing back the guys that we had. But I think the front office is at least at this point, is showing a lot of faith in the people they drafted and
Yeah.
undrafted, whoever they picked up. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, man.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else that, you can think that you'd like to have on this team at this point, knowing who we have,
Knowing
and who
what
we
we
brought
have,
back?
that's right. That's the thing. I'm not really sure because Fournier just changes the pocket a bit more. You know what I mean? Like you look at what Fournier brings. How do you marry? You can't marry him to many other players. Because I really don't see us moving on from Barrett. I really don't. So unless we're planning to move away from Barrett, you know what I mean,
Right.
and a couple of some of our young depth, I don't see us making another move. If we make another move, then we got to expect that Barrett's part of that move. It could be potentially Barrett,
Mm-hmm.
Toppin, and quickly that may be, moving on for, more of a veteran's presence. Um, will Zach Levine look nice? Of course. Will I put him would I send those kids to the Bulls? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. So, that's how I look at
No,
it.
I agree. No, I hear you. I mean, at this point, I don't know what they would do. New York Knicks lifer said in the chat, do we have enough left for DeMar DeRozan? I mean,
No space for
DeMar
him.
wanted to come to the Knicks. I mean,
Not with Fournier here.
it's tough because with Fournier here, right, and RJ's got to play some. Well, the good thing is that Fournier can play the small forward, and RJ can stay at shooting guard. But if you bring in somebody like DeMar, that means somebody's got to go to the bench. I don't know.
We also
It's
got
tough.
Burks now too. So that is where.
Yeah, but it's okay for Burks was a bench player to begin the season with us, right? And then because of injury and need, he started to start and take on different roles. That part
Right.
I'm not that concerned about, but I would be concerned if they have to put RJ on the bench
That ain't gonna work.
for someone. Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
His agent won't go for it either. It's not gonna happen. You're gonna have a disgruntled player who's gonna want out. At that point, you might as well just trade him right now and get something for him. You know what I mean? If you package him with, and I hate to say it, but I don't want to package him. But if you package him with a Quickly and Toppin, there goes your young, that's a young assets right there. You know what I mean? Because if you look at how we drafted, to be honest, Toppin doesn't really have a place, right? But no one's going to want him because he's so green. He hasn't shown enough yet. So you're going to have to package him with someone who there is a budding star, potential Barrett, and then a Quickly who's obviously a lights out type of free throw shooter, shoots over 90% or close to. That's the asset, right? That's where it changes a bit. So you can package that out for something. What that something is, who's available, you look at what Chicago just did, right? Because the reality is, ain't no one right now in the market better than James Levine. You know what I mean? Is it? Because DeRozan's not there. DeRozan's older. I'm not giving away that much for DeRozan.
Yeah, no, you might be right. That's a good point.
I'm not giving away Barrett for DeRozan. I really ain't. Not if I'm, you know what I mean?
No, I don't want to do that either because I will tell you though, honestly, if DeRozan could shoot threes, I might have felt differently about it because DeRozan is a solid basketball player, but he's limited.
He's like 28. He's older.
Yeah,
he's
but
no longer
remember the Knicks
the
are in
Raptors. Yeah, but James Levine is 25, 26. You know what I mean?
Levine.
Yeah. He's younger. So why would you package out someone who's just turned 21 and add RJ Barrett, who's shown that he's growing as a player? He's a lefty. You know what I mean? He shot over 40%. You're going to get rid of him to get older? That don't make no sense. That wouldn't make any sense at all. I'm looking at what DeMar DeRozan is age-wise. just to be sure.
Yeah,
But I
because
think he's.
not at this point. I don't think you would
Hold on.
want
He's
to do that.
31, dog.
Oh wow,
That's a lot of age, man.
wow, yeah.
And not to say he's
No,
past
I
his
would.
prime, but you know, it's a young man's
I
game.
don't think you do that. I don't think you do that and give up all those assets for a 31-year-old if you're not ready to go to that next level. Like you would have to be a contender waiting for a piece to get you over the hump, and the Knicks are not that.
Yeah. And you know I'm bugging. I'm saying Adam Levine. Adam Levine is the singer. Bugging.
Oh,
Zach
actually,
Levine.
you were saying,
What the hell's
yeah,
wrong with
Zach
me?
Levine, yeah. Hey, listen.
I'm bugging right now. Jeez.
No, I hear you. No, you make a good point. I see what you're saying on that.
Yeah.
So I would think that at this point, I don't know what to expect from them. I don't know what else they have up their sleeve. I don't know if they still want to bring in some type of veteran point guard to kind of help with the team. They might just want to go with what they got and see if something shake the tree and see if something comes out. But
Yeah.
I think they could still. I feel like they still could use like a savvy point guard that doesn't have to be a star, but
Like
just
a
somebody
Conley?
that they could have. Yeah, but Conley might be, the price tag's too high. Like, I mean, somebody lower, not like in the Augustine realm, but not Augustine because Augustine's older.
Rozier
Well,
type?
if you get Rozier, then I'm really happy. No, if you can get Rozier,
Right.
that'd be great. Because
Right.
remember,
But then
the
that
one
means
thing we haven't,
McBride won't have a shot this year.
not yet. But you know what? Listen, the thing about McBride is he is a point guard, but he's like a point guard / shooting guard. So he's a combo guard. And obviously, if you make a trade for someone like a Rozier, then that means you're getting rid of somebody. So, if that happens, something would open up. But I think that's probably the next step the Knicks are going to look into because there's teams like Sacramento, like OKC, like Indiana.
Because they picked up a point guard draft. They
correct.
picked up another point guard, right?
Right. Draft. So there's certain teams out there that have a surplus.
I would not be mad if we get De'Aaron Fox. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm already away off of what's the kid from Cleveland?
Sexton.
Sexton. I'm already past me already. I'm not even focused on Sexton anymore. Like I'm really looking at De'Aaron Fox, Rozier as a possibility if they can make some moves. But I think we'll lose quickly, and we'll lose Toppin for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
They have to be packaged in a deal with maybe a couple of young draft picks. But listen, if they make a move if they're gonna trade Barrett, if the plan is to move away from Barrett, then you have to get a Levine type. You have to get a Levine type. It just wouldn't make sense if you didn't, No,
I agree. Well, I mean, listen, man, we'll see what happens. This is the first day of free agency, and it was pretty crazy. I got to tell you, whatever's going on with these deadlines, opening deadlines or MLB deadlines, everything's just nuts. It's wild right now. So
you got Javi Baez. You better be thanking for your Lucky Stars for that one. He won y'all a game.
Yeah, but you guys got Gallo and Rizzo. I don't even understand how that happens, man.
For no money down. We were just like, okay, you picking up their salary for this year? Okay, we'll take that. Still under the salary cap. Talk about it.
Whatever, man. I don't know how you do it, but it is what it is, man. But hey, this is gonna be an interesting offseason. I don't think the Knicks are done. I still think they got at least one move left in them. What it's gonna be, we don't know. We don't know what the direction is, but we should see. We will see what's next. Yeah. Right. It might be. I mean, they got all those picks for something.
That's true.
So we'll see.
That's true. I wouldn't. You know what wouldn't surprise me though either, if they find a buyer for Randall. To be honest, that wouldn't surprise me either. If they found a buyer for Randall, even though Randall is beloved right now at this moment in time, he's done the best he could do. Somehow, he's not really found himself with the media. I don't know. There's something about the media that kind of, you know, they attach him to all these other things when he's really a family guy, which is interesting. And I'm starting to see that. You know, he doesn't get talked about enough during the off season. You know what I mean? Then you hear little things here and there. So for me, if they find a suitor for Randle, I could see them making a bigger move, a big splash, utilizing Randle as that big name.
You could be right. I mean, it's definitely going to come down to something, and I think the Knicks are going to go into the season with Randle, and I think they want to see how he plays with other pieces around him that can stretch the floor to give him more lane to do what he's got to do. But if the Knicks don't get off to a good start, or they're not looking like they're playing better, you know, overall compared to this previous year, I wouldn't be surprised if they move Randle, because his contract year is coming up, and they, you know, he may not even like the fit himself. And if you get somebody disgruntled and he wants to walk, the Knicks might have to make a trade so that they can get something before they lose him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And he's got to be willing to see where is he a part of the future. And if he's not sure of that, you know what I mean, by this front office, because I'm sure he would have wanted to have conversations around that now. So we'll see. It wouldn't surprise me, man.
Oh, the chat is funny, man. So Isabel Maldonado in the chat says, who cares about the Knicks? More important question, who's the hot guy in the black Knicks shirt?
Shout outs to the wife. Gotta love her. She's got many, many jokes.
Yeah. Okay, Izzy, I see you.
That's love. That's love.
Yeah. Somebody's got to love you, right?
I'm telling you. I got myself a winner.
Yeah, there you go. Well, man, hey, this has been good. It's been nice to be back. You know, I had my little break, little rest, but there's so much stuff going on with the Knicks and other sports. It's been fun to come back and be able to talk about it. So I'm happy to be back. I'm looking forward to next week's show. Hopefully it can be just as good, if not better, than this one. And it's a pleasure to see your face again, repping the Knicks.
You already know.
Thanks again to our special guest, Tia Shaw, for coming on the show, gracing us with her presence, talking about her book, Sheep in Wolf's Clothes, and that she's also working on a second one. So we look forward to that. Thank you to Jose on the ones and twos in the background, holding us down as always. And, you know, thank you to you guys in the chat that came on and took a look at us and, you know, watched the show and gave us, you know, a little feedback in your comments. We hope to get this to be a more expansive thing where we can get more involvement. We want to get everybody involved. You know, get more Knicks fans in this thing.
Man, reach out to us, man. We want to have you on. We want to hear your take about how you see the Knicks going this upcoming season for sure. We definitely need your presence here.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks again for tuning in. You know, this has been Still Knick Fans, you know, episode number 25. Look forward to, you know, seeing what we got going on next week. Obviously, as always, you can catch us on Instagram at Still Knick Fans or on Twitter at Still Knick Fans. We look forward to hearing from you guys. You know, just look forward to some stuff happening, and we're going to keep getting better and better, and hopefully the Knicks do the same thing. So we neck and neck. Us getting better, right. Knicks getting better.
They getting better. That's it. That's it. That's our trajectory right now. So that's what's up. Definitely, you know, hit the subscribe button, hit the like, share with a friend, for you know, and look out for us.
Thank you. Take care, y'all. We'll see you on the next one.
All right, peace.
It's a litmus test just to see who's best. Roll the dice, break the pipe, and let's see who's next. Ron and Jon on the mic, talking New York Knicks. We be rooting and recruiting for the boot camp clip. Take a step back, take a minute. Talk trash, but we in it. Let's go now, cause we winning. All you haters, gon' be living. Run amok, knuckle up, ain't no New York punk. Step it up, keep it clutch, have the Midas touch.